As America fights back, there is a lot of interest in both the Arab and Islamic communities here in this country. And one local man is doing all he can to explain the true essence of Islam as to an audience as wide as possible. Channel 4's Diane Diaz is here now with more on this story. Diane.
Colleen, it bears repeating that not all Arabs are Muslims and not all Muslims are from the Middle East. This is a religion that spans the globe and constitutes people from a wide array of cultures and ethnicities. The man we're about to introduce you to happens to be Arab American and is eager to point out that Islam is taking a beating as a result of the fanatics abroad who are giving the religion a bad name.
He's becoming a familiar face on TV. Arab American Salam Al-Marayati is emerging as the voice of the Islamic community in Southern California and beyond. Last night, speaking about Islam in West Hollywood after taping TV shows Politically Incorrect and Life and Times within a span of just a few hours.
Islam is not a ghost or a phantom or some distant monster. That is, unfortunately, sometimes that's what's projected in our culture.
Salam sits in front of the cameras as executive director of the Muslim Public Affairs Council, a public service agency aimed at getting the truth about Islam out to the public. He sat down with us for an interview about the most common myths and misconceptions of Islam, starting with the word jihad.
It does not mean holy war. Jihad really means the exertion of effort in order to improve oneself. That's the literal meaning of jihad.
As for the Middle Eastern terrorists who misuse the word,
the extremists there want it to mean something that is violent, and the extremists here, unfortunately, exploit that kind of misunderstanding and only spout more hate and more prejudice and more fear.
Another myth about Islam is that the religion somehow supports the concept of suicide bombings, killing yourself and others in the name of God, as seen in the recent attacks on New York and Washington.
Does the Quran address this at all in the scripture that you
If anything, the Quran says exactly the opposite. Number one, if you kill civilians, you will be punished by God. Suicide is forbidden in Islam. It's considered a major sin to kill yourself in Islam. So on both counts, these are behaviors that probably are more representative of somebody who is psychotic and is a psychological condition than actually a state of religion or a state of religious understanding.
And what about the Taliban, which means students in Arabic?
There is no relationship between the Taliban and Islam.
Yet they're hanging their hat on an Islamic slate.
Yes, the misconception is, well, these people, because they're more orthodox in their Islam, that's why they rule Afghanistan. No, it's in spite of the Islamic principles of human rights and justice.
So what you're saying is that what they're doing is flying in the face of true Islam?
Absolutely. Anytime you oppress your own people, there is no process of self-government. And when you say the Quran says there's no compulsion in religion and a government is imposing religion on their own people, then by default it loses its Quranic and Islamic character.
That's why, Salam explains, Islamic fundamentalism cannot be considered a correct version of Islam, at least not from the moderate American Muslim point of view that he represents.
So when you look at Islamic fundamentalism, what does that term say to you?
I consider that an oxymoron. We only see the violent extremist parts in our home living rooms through our TV sets and reading it in the papers. But the vast majority of the Muslim peoples are really sharing the same American values that we have here. They want freedom, they want justice, they want security, they want decency, they want to have a bright future for their children.
Salam recently returned from a meeting with President Bush in Washington, D.C. He says he was encouraged by the president's pledge to be supportive of America's Arab and Islamic communities. He is hopeful that the American public at large will adopt a similar point of view.
Obviously, bin Laden and those people interpret the Quran slightly differently, don't they? It's
Much
all perception
differently.
and interpretation.
And as Salam says, perception does become reality. Unfortunately, that's why he is trying to get out there with the message of a moderate Muslim American point of view, which is what you heard.
All right. Diane, thanks
Diane.
a lot. Well, you just saw a couple of minutes ago a piece about NBC reporter Kerry Sanders. Video phones have become a vital part of covering the war. He was...
With all the Pro Bowl players they've had, there's a chance they might break it up. And if your play's dipping, Warren's going to let you know. I'll take Warren Sapp. You know what, even though you went against the grain, I mean, your logic was out there.
Hi.
Hello.
Yeah, I'd like to return these checks. You put the bank's address on them instead of mine.
Okay, that's a new printing fee, a transaction fee, and, of course, a conversation fee.
Conversation fee?
We'll have to charge you for this little chat we're having. 3 pronouns, 7 verbs.
What?
Oh, emotional outburst fee. Well, those can be steep. You'll have to write us a check.
Fed up with fees? Try Washington Mutual. Our free checking has no teller fees, no fine print, no surprises.
There you go. Have to charge you for that.
Washington Mutual.
Why do good drivers get killed? In our